guys. I know I'm a minute late, so I was going to wait just a second. Just to make sure everybody knows we are good to go. So I am Brittany Legette, and I get to help contribute to this training, which I'm super excited about. Today, I found that this is a training, this is a topic that a lot of people want to talk about. And I was thinking last night as I was finalizing what I really wanted to talk about. You know, if we were all in a room or we were at an event, I feel like we could all share a lot of tips together. I feel like we could all kind of talk about what has worked for us and what hasn't worked for us. And so I first want to wait and make sure that you know, a good amount of people are going to hop on so I don't make anybody upset by sharing too quick. So first, I kind of want to just ask you guys, from Monday till today, how many of the daily check-ins have you guys gotten to? So go ahead and comment for me so I know people can hear me and I know you are on with me. How many of the daily check-ins have you been able to do? Oh, I should probably swipe so I can make sure I could see. Okay, so 11 people are on. Okay, good, Kessa, awesome. Hi, Kessa. Congratulations, you guys. That's super important. I know it's so small, but those daily check-ins are super important. Really good, you guys. It makes sense that you guys are on live and you guys are crushing the daily check-ins. Okay, awesome. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get started just because it's Friday and I said I was going to go live at 1, so I want to honor that time. So today I get to talk about onboarding, and by no means am I the onboarding guru, but I am somebody who has been onboarding coaches for 4 years now. So again, my name is Brittany Legette Chamard, and I became a coach January 2013. My coach is Lindsay Matway, and I just a quick little summary of my business. I went Emerald in like less than 2 weeks. I became a Diamond coach in 3 months. I became a Star Diamond coach in 4 months, and a 5-star Diamond Elite in 11 months. And a 15-star I think was just over my, I think it was like 2 years and a couple months, so just over my 2-year mark. So the thing is, what I see a lot of coaches struggle with is sponsoring coaches, and a lot of times that's what holds them back from growth in this business. It's one thing to host challenge groups and really help support people in their fitness journey, but for some reason it's another thing, or it feels more daunting, or it feels more intimidating once you begin sponsoring new coaches within your team. And so I want to make sure that we are all on the same page here. In my opinion, you truly cannot experience the fullness of this business if you are not willing to sponsor new coaches, if you are not willing to learn, to grow, to try, to fail. Sponsorship is the bulk of this business as far as residual income and significant income goes, as well as passing on this gift, you know, passing on this opportunity to people. So the people who tell me all the time, oh, I really want to build this business, but I can't, or I find it hard to find new coaches, or everyone I talk to says no. You guys, everybody goes through that to some degree. Everybody goes through that. We all have to figure out how to sponsor new coaches because like I said, that is like the sweet spot in this business. That's how you build your crew. That's how you build your tribe, and that trickle effect begins to magnify within your downline, which then in turn magnifies your paycheck, you know. So okay, so I want to talk about onboarding, and it's pretty ironic because I am actually speaking about this at Summit, and so I'll go into a little more training there as I'm kind of developing it. But it's kind of ironic that I have this topic because I have a baby at home, a brand new baby, almost 3 months, or he just turned 3 months now. And so that season of my business was a time for me to reflect on how I was onboarding my coaches. It was a season for me because I wasn't on the phone very much, you know, newborn life. I was, you know, thinking to myself, how can I make this process better? How can I make sure that I'm mentoring my new coaches and meeting them where they're at, but not pulling them along? All of us in some season of our life, of our business life, we go through this season of like pulling people and tugging people, and all of us learn the hard way. All of us learn that that is not effective for them or for you. We all learn not to do that, and so you might experience that in your business from time to time, that you kind of revert back to trying to pull people along. Or I even saw in some of the comments, I could kind of infer that some of you are there. You are sponsoring 2 coaches, and then you're frustrated when those 2 coaches don't work the business or don't follow through with what they said they were going to do. 2 people, you can't put all your eggs in that basket. And so, again, I'm not the expert here. I'm not the one that is going to tell you exactly what to do, so you might be disappointed with me, because I believe this is very fluid and you have to be flexible. Like I just told you, after I had my baby, this has been my brainstorming piece. I change the way I onboard my coaches periodically, like a few times a year, because it's important for us to look at what we're doing and say, is this effective? Is this actually working? And what might work for me and my schedule may not work for you and your schedule. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to say, hey, Amy, do A, B, C, D, and E, and you're going to have a success starter. I can't tell you that, because this is an individual business. You run your business based on the time that you have, the strengths that you have, and the new coach, they're running their business in that same fashion based on the time that they have, the drive that they have, the mission that they're on. So try to remember to be very flexible when it comes to onboarding. Now, I think it's very important to be organized and to be systematic, because that's how you repeat success. When you find something through trial and error that works, it's important for you to get organized. So the first challenge, I'm going to give you your challenge up front. And I'll remind you at the end, I hope. The first challenge I have for you is, when you're developing these systems in your business, like an onboarding system or an onboarding action plan, it's important that you set the time aside to actually plan it out. And so these things in your business come up. You guys can relate to this when you are getting ready to create a new challenge group template, or you're getting ready to create, I don't know, maybe a video for your YouTube channel or something. When you have those extra projects that kind of come up in your business, it's important that you set aside the time. So for me, when I have a project like this that I want to revamp, maybe there's a document that I want to make, or maybe I just want to go through the flow and make sure it makes sense, and that I'm remembering what I'm doing with each new coach, you got to set aside the time. And so for me, that's usually a Friday, Saturday, or a Sunday when business is a little less busy, depending on my family. So I want to challenge you. If you don't have a system or an action plan for onboarding new coaches that you love, I want you to take your calendar and I want you to mark a day where you say, okay, on this day, this is my brainstorm day for revamping the way I onboard, or getting organized with the way that I onboard my new coaches. I want you to physically put it on a calendar, because your brain needs that space to think about it, to absorb the information that you and the resources that you've been exposed to, and then to solidify it by putting it in pen and paper or typing it out, so that it's a systematic order that you can follow from now on. So that's my first challenge to you before I dig into this. I want you to set aside a time within the next 10 days. And I know some of us are going to Punta Cana, but that's no excuse. There's a plane ride there. So within the next 10 days, I want you to set a specific day on your calendar that you are going to brainstorm and organize your onboarding process. Okay, so let me dig into what I want to teach you, what I want to share with you, and what I do with my new coaches and the changes that I've kind of made. So the thing with onboarding that is the most important is simplicity. Remember, you are sponsoring new people. You are their mentor. It's not your job to put their business together. It is your job to point them in the way and point them into the direction of good resources, encourage them, support them, and be available to them, whether it be phone or computer or whatever, so that you can be an encouragement to them and they can learn from you and, you know, sort of use you as a sounding board. It's not your job to put their business together. So when you're thinking about the way that you onboard your new coaches, please keep it as simple as possible, because that simplicity is going to allow not only you to make sure that you duplicate with each of your new coaches, but then your new coaches will then be able to duplicate that with their new coaches. So, like I said, I set aside a time quarterly to organize and brainstorm how I need to change my systems. And so I just happen to be in that season right now as well. So this is a new quarter, so I'm brainstorming and organizing just new ideas, changing things up that didn't work for my people or didn't seem to be very successful. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is you cannot have, in my opinion, you cannot have a super black and white action plan for every single coach, because not every coach has the same goal, and not every coach has the same personality. So although it would be very nice to, create a, 5-step process for onboarding new coaches that work every single time, and you can wrap it up with a pretty bow, unfortunately that's not how this works, because this is more relational, this is more individual. And so my suggestion to you is to create a system, create a steps 1 through 5, but allow there to be some wiggle room. I'm going to go through, I uploaded a file last night in case you didn't see it. I bumped it up this morning, or just now. I created a document that I use every time I onboard my new coaches. So my system is to sign my new coaches up. I don't sign discount coaches, so I sign hobby coaches or business builders. And I usually do that via email and the Team Beachbody Coach mobile app. And the first step is to put them in my personally sponsored coach mentorship page. That's what I call it. It's my Facebook page for my PS coaches. I'm sure you all have one by now. If you don't, that's something that you need to put on your to-do list for this weekend. You need to have a group, a hub for your people. So the first thing I do is I add them to that group. Okay, I have a pinned video in that group that basically welcomes the new coach, gives them 10 tips of success for new coaches, and those tips are actually tips that I pulled from my leaders. So I asked them, like, what was the most important thing that you learned or that you did as a new coach that helped you with success? And they gave their answer. So that way it's not just all my opinion, it's other people as well. And I'll share that in the group if you'd like to see that video. But that video is pinned at the top of my PS group, and every time I have a new coach join there, I tag them in that message, or that comment thread, I guess is what it's called. So there they are directed to their business quick start. I talk to them about grabbing a personal development book. I tell them to go ahead and get started on the coach training in the Coach Online office, because there are some coaches that do not want to wait a couple days or until a week or whatever till you start some sort of training system, and that's okay. And it's okay if you don't have a training system. Honestly, you can use the training in the Coach Online office. Sure, it might be a little vanilla for you. It might be not exactly what you do, or it might not highlight your strengths, but it's something to get them started, and it's something to dig into their business when they're ready. So I give them that resource in this post, and then I give them some initial goals. So I'm reading it right now. Month 1, find 1 to 3 challengers for the next challenge group, and you guys join me. That's the first goal, for them to find 1 to 3 challengers to help them, or to join them, and all of them join my challenge group. And so they don't have to run a challenge group right off the bat. They can join me. You've probably heard that spiel before, but that's how I do it as well. So month 1, find 1 to 3 challengers. Month 2, to build their business, focus on reaching Emerald Coach status and Success Club. Now I'll go into this a little bit more when I get on the phone with them, but this is just the pinned post. So as soon as they become a coach, they've got some information if they're ready and wanting to dig in right away. I'm not going to hold them back because I'm at a meeting or I'm at the grocery store or whatever. They have information right here that they can dig into. Further down in the post, it gives them a link of a new coach webinar that I did a while ago. I'll also provide that if you want to recreate that for your own team. And then let's see what else. And then I have them subscribe to my YouTube channel because I have a ton of videos on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I'll post all this stuff in the group. And then from there, I give them a little bit of a 1 through 6 kind of how to find information and be resourceful. I feel very strongly about new coaches being independent and being resourceful right off the bat. I think it's important to find information yourself because there's so much learning in that process. And versus, let me give you the opposite example, versus signing up a coach and every single question they have, they're texting you because they're nervous, because it's new, all valid. But they don't learn as much as if they were just to go into the FAQ and type in Emerald Coach. And I'm not saying go hang your coaches out to dry. I'm just saying empower them to be independent and show them how to be resourceful. So I will post this entire thing in our group when we're done. But that's the first step. When they sign as a coach, I put them into my PS group right away. And then I tag them in that pinned post. So again, the welcome flow from here on out becomes individual, because the person that is joining my team may or may not be a business building coach. She may or may not, I say she because I primarily sponsor women, but she may or may not have more than an hour a day to put towards her business and learning these new skills. So it becomes individual at this point. Okay, so let me pull out this next thing. We now have a resource called the First 30. If you don't know about that, you need to dig into that. The First 30, you can FAQ it. It's a more systematic process for a coach to onboard. So again, all these resources that Beachbody has offered us, the Coach Online Office with training, the First 30 initiative, it's all there. Now, of course, it's better if you personalize it. It's better if you put your feeling into it. It's better if you take what they've done and you say, I love this, I love this. This isn't really what I would love to communicate to my coach, so I'm going to change it a little bit. Just use it as the backbone for your business. And again, this is why you schedule a day for, on a weekend when you have more time, because it takes some time. It'll take some time for you to read through the First 30. It'll take some time for you to think to yourself, okay, what do I like about this and what do I not? You can't simply do this in a 10-minute span and do it well. So I encourage you to set that time aside within the next 10 days so that you can absorb all this information and figure out what's going to work for you. Okay, so moving on. So they get that welcome email. I'm actually in the process of revising my welcome email, so I don't have it to share with you right now, but I will when it's done. But what I used to do is send them one email, and it just said, welcome, I'm honored that you chose me as your sponsor. Here's sort of the rundown of things. I'm going to add you to my groups. We're going to do a challenge group together. Don't stress out about all the information. I'll help you learn it piece by piece. And then the last part of that was go ahead and schedule Getting Started Right call with me, and I use Acuity scheduling. So it's a paid service that I pay, I think, $10 a month, but it's Acuity, A-C-U-I-T-Y. And it's a scheduler. You don't have to use that, but that keeps my life a little bit more simplistic, and I can set my call hours ahead of time, and they can just go and schedule what works for them. So that's what the email used to say. Now, First 30 has come out, so I'm utilizing more of corporate's resources. That's why I'm revamping it. So at this point, they've joined. They've been added to my group, but they haven't received an email yet because I'm revamping mine. It's not perfect. It's just because I'm revamping mine. So if you've got an email, if you've got a welcome email, send it their way. But the next step for them is to go to the First 30. Beachbody sends them an email when they become a new coach, and Beachbody is going to introduce the First 30 to them. So if you don't know what the First 30 is, just FAQ it. It's awesome. It's a great setup. It tells them what to do in the first 30 seconds, first 30 minutes, and first 30 days. Is that right? 30 minutes, 30 hours, 30 seconds. 30 minutes, 30 hours, 30 days. It's a really great skeleton of how to get someone started and plugged in immediately. So my suggestion to you is, if you don't know what the First 30 is, go and dig into that this weekend. Or if you're on, you can print it out. They have a PDF in the FAQ. You can print it out and read it on the plane if you're going to Punta Cana. But look at the First 30 and personalize it. So the next step for me is, when they have received that email, they get something called the Coach Action Plan. That's a part of the First 30. So when they have that first action plan filled out, they schedule GSR with me. The reason I do that is because, and this is my suggestion to you, you absolutely can get on the phone with every single person that you sign up, and I think that's great. And that's honestly what I used to do. At this point, in order to respect my time and their time, I ask them to send me that Coach Action Plan ahead of time. Now, am I going to get on the phone with them if they forget to send it to me? Yes, I will. But the point is, I'm setting them up for owning their own business and their own goal setting from the get-go. So the Coach Action Plan is exactly what it sounds like. It's them making a plan as a coach. So it's them. It's not after we've talked, and so then they're kind of setting goals based on what they think I said. They're setting goals based on what they want, and they're learning right from the get-go. So once they send me that coach action plan, they scheduled our GSR on that Acuity scheduling link that I told you about. And then we hop on the phone. My goal is to get a GSR done within 2 weeks. Now, that has not been happening every single time, just due to my lifestyle and season of life right now, so my schedule right now. But that is ideal. 2 weeks is even a little bit long. I would even say 1 week would be best, just to kind of get them going and get them started. Now, again, you're gonna have to sort of modify this based on your schedule and based on their schedule. Maybe they work, every single time you're available for the next 2 weeks. Sometimes that happens, and it's not the best, but that happens sometimes. But you've got your PS group as a buffer, right? You've got the first 30 as a buffer. So it's not like they're paralyzed. They can still get going, and they can still start taking steps in their business. But that GSR one-on-one call with you is absolutely important. Some people do Zoom calls. Some people do a group GSR. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Like I said in the beginning, whatever you're doing, you just have to be willing to reevaluate in a couple months and ask yourself, is this really working? Am I receiving the result that I'm setting out to receive? And if not, you've got to be flexible and be willing to change it. Okay, so let me move on. Okay, so in order to respect my time, honor their time, and allow me to truly be a coach that's partnering with them based on their goals, that coach action plan is very important because it tells me what they want to do in their business. And then I tailor my GSR call and my advice to them, my mentorship, to their goals. And so not everybody is getting the exact same spiel. Yes, there's a lot of redundancy. Yes, there's a lot of overlap. But when they send me that coach action plan, we can really dig into their personal goals, their personal reasons for becoming a coach, their personal fears, and it's much more one-on-one and individualized. So, like I said, the general rule of thumb, the general process is the same, but the actual conversation and the actual steps that I'm giving them is based on what they want to do. So, how do you remember all that stuff? That was a huge struggle of mine. I made this sheet of paper last year. So, my first 2.5 to 3 years in the business, this was a huge struggle of mine. Having these personal conversations with people, and then forgetting, because I'm human, forgetting exactly what they said or not remembering exactly what was talked about because maybe months had passed between their interaction or whatever. So I created this, I guess, tracker. This is sort of like a coach tracker. So if you don't have it, I posted it in the Superstar group, the Diamond Bet group, and so it's pretty self-explanatory. At the top, coach name and their sign-up date. This little launching pad here, to me, these are the main things that I'm talking about on our call. So I know it's backwards for you, but the first one is GSR. So when that's done, I put a check mark. I guess I could show you a filled out one. Let me show you a filled out one. 1 second. So the launching pad is a group of, to me, the most important parts of, here's one that I just recently did. Okay, so I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'll cover her name. Use the glare. Yeah, okay, so you can kind of see, that I check it off when I've gone through it. So when we're on a GSR, sorry, my battery is obviously low. When we're on a GSR, I check through that. The next one says mentorship, which is what I call my training. And when I've talked to them about that, and I've figured out, do they want to do that or do they not want to do that, I check that off. The next little box is Success Club. I talk to them about that. I let them know what it is. It's a conversation. So usually it's something like, hey, Julie, we've already talked about their goals. Like, remember, I have their coach action plan. So I know whether or not they're like, oh, I'm just kind of, dipping my toe in, or if they're like, I got goals, I've got to make this work, whatever. I can get a feel for, what advice to give them. If they're telling me, like, I really want to be home, I really want to transition out of my career, or I'd really like to, make a more significant income to help with X, Y, or Z, I know to really emphasize the importance of Success Club. Now, I'm going to talk about it with everybody no matter what, but those people that have specific goals, especially income goals or business goals, I'm really, really talking to them about the importance of Success Club right off the bat. So this little box that says SC is reminding me to talk to them about Success Starters. It's reminding me to say, hey, Do you already know what Success Club is? A lot of them already know what it is because, remember, my PS group has that pinned post and it tells them to go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Usually when people do that, they're watching videos. So this launching pad really helps me stay on track to be sure that I'm at least having a conversation with them about each thing. And as I'm talking to them, if they have questions, they ask. They're like, okay, wait, I don't quite understand that. How many Success Club points do you get for this? Or what if it's a challenger that has already, you know, joined me before? Whatever. You know, all the questions come up, which is fine. It's good. It's fresh. It's good conversation, and they learn right there. So we talk about Success Club. The next one is we talk about success partners. So I tell them, I'm like, look, I know you're new, but I want you to keep your eyes open. I want you to keep your eyes open for a success partner. And I'm going to keep my eyes open too because I have your coach action plan and I know what kind of goals you have. So if somebody, you know, comes to mind that would be a good fit for you, I might suggest it, but I want you to own that. That's going to be something that I'm really, especially if you have strong goals, it's important for you to find a mastermind group or find a success partner that you can work together with, share goals, hold one another accountable. So that's that little conversation there. The next one says apprentice. So that means that we are going to have them join my next challenge group with their challengers. Once they have customers of their own drinking Shakeology and doing a Beachbody workout, they get to help me lead and pour into our challenge group. And so I explain my expectations of my apprentice coaches in my challenge group. I explain to them that, look, this is an opportunity for you to learn how I run my groups on the app. You get to observe, but you also get to coach your people. And you also get to get a sort of a kickstart on your own personal fitness journey to share on your social media. So apprenticeship is really important to me. You can call it whatever you want. I used to call it Queen Challenger. I used to call it all kinds of things, but whatever name you want. But it's essentially taking the pressure off of them so they don't have to run the group completely by themselves. But my expectation is if they're apprenticing with me, that they're being the ideal challenger. So that means they participate in every single post, or if you do assignments, they are doing their measurements, they are encouraging other challengers. And what that does, I don't know if you saw my Super Saturday training a couple Super Saturdays ago, but what that does, having apprentices in the group, it contributes to the culture of the challenge community. So more challengers begin to share because they see, you know, Julia sharing, or they see so-and-so sharing. And so those apprentices are very vital, in my opinion, because it helps you run a group with a positive culture and an active feed. So that's what apprenticeship is. And the last one says coach profile. And that's just a personal thing for me. I honestly haven't been doing that very consistently, but I want to. So goals, being transparent. I have a document on Google, and it just asks them questions like, what's your soulmate workout program? What is your favorite color? What's your shoe size? What's your t-shirt size? What's your mailing address? Just little things like that, because I like to have quick access. And I know you can get their address from the Coach Online office, so you don't really need all that stuff. But I like to have that information so that if they're doing really well or they just have been working really, really hard, I can, as their sponsor, one of my love languages is giving gifts. And so I can simply pull up their document and figure out what their favorite color is, or their favorite hobby, or their soulmate program, or whatever it is, and either do a recognition piece on them that's more personal, or I can send them something in the mail, or I can send them a quick card. That's just a personal thing that I do. Obviously, you don't have to do that. Okay, so the next box, I'm going to keep moving because I want to honor our time. The next box is about personal development. So on our GSR, this is, again, jogging my memory to make sure that we're talking about personal development. So I'm introducing personal development. I'm making sure that they understand the importance of it, and then it gives us an opportunity to talk about, okay, what would be the best first personal development book or audiobook for you now? And so we talk about maybe some of their initial struggles or fears or personality, and we get to pinpoint their personal development to be a book that they really love, that they're really energized by. And then as we continue talking, I keep a list of the personal development books that they are reading, just for accountability, really. And then this box over here is their why. And so this is an evolving thing, but usually on our GSR, there are a few key things that they talk about that are going to contribute to their why. And most of my coaches on our GSR, they don't have their why figured out. They just don't. It's too early. They're still trying to figure out a million things. But I, as their sponsor, every time I talk to them, I get to ask them a little bit, like, okay, what is your why? Like, have you been able to clarify? Have you gotten clarity with what's really driving you as a coach, or what's really keeping you motivated? So that's what that box is there for. And I usually am just jotting notes until further along in their business, then we can write out like really specific whys. Okay, so the next section here, it says call log and goals. And so this is just a bunch of lines. It's an ongoing sheet, and it just has dates here. So I'm putting the date of our GSR. I'm putting notes down based on what we talk about. So this is what was most helpful for me, because I want to remember the details that are important to them. And without this ongoing sheet, it's difficult to do that. You can if you're sponsoring one coach a month, that's much more doable. And that's not to be condescending, that's just sheer numbers, But as you begin to sponsor more coaches, and as your team grows, and as you are in the business longer, it's not as easy to remember these things. So that's my purpose behind that. As far as frequency of calls, again, I'm sort of in a different season right now with my baby, but previous to my baby, my intention is to do a GSR within the first week or two, depending on their schedule. And then from then on, if they are a new coach showing up and they have questions, I'll get on the phone with them whenever they want. Now, I'm not going to talk to them every single day, but if they are, showing up in groups, they're participating in challenge groups, I see them posting, they're working through training, whatever the training may be. I tell them, like, if you need, and I tell them this on the GSR, like, within the next few weeks or even couple months, like, if you just need to touch base again, if you need to work through things on the phone, I'm here. I want to do that with you. And then from that point on, I typically do one-on-one calls with my Success Club qualifiers. Sometimes it's people with Success Club points on the board. So there, again, is a qualifier to respect time, so that you're not giving your time on the phone to the same people who aren't showing any action, aren't putting any effort into their business. That's how I've chosen to do my call structure, and there's always exceptions to that rule. If there's a coach of mine who's just struggling or has fallen off the wagon and it's coming back, of course I'll do a call with them. I mean, call came in. I don't have a hard rule on that, but my general rule, my general rule of thumb is a GSR, and then a follow-up call when they're ready for it. Maybe it's a week, maybe it's 2 weeks, maybe it's a month if they're independent. It depends on the person. And from that point on, I'm definitely offering a call every time. Holy cow, this person's literally called me 4 times back to back, and I keep saying decline. So hopefully you guys can still hear me. Okay, sorry. Okay, so that's the frequency of call. Holy moly. Sorry. And then it's case by case. Okay, so as people need it, they reach out, I grab their sheet, and we go to town with a phone call. At the bottom there, I just jot down their success partners, and then as they, so this is like a, hold on a second, I'm going to text her and say, please stop calling me. It's my mom. So this sheet is it's an ongoing sheet. So as there are new coaches, and then moving on to leaders, I still use the same log. So of course, sometimes I have to turn it over on the back and keep, writing notes depending on how long they've been a coach. But the bottom part here allows me, as their sponsor, to help coaches that are beyond their new coach status. They're coaches who are working on sponsorship. They're coaches maybe even working towards elite or premier. And so that's what that section is down there. And then the very bottom is just resources to send. So as we're talking, if they're confused about Team Cycle bonus, I don't know, I can jot down there like, Team Cycle bonus video. So it'll be just a resource that I want to make sure that they are aware of. I'll tag them in it, that sort of thing. That's what that is on the bottom. Okay, so what's the question? Sorry, I'm scrolling up. Do you keep all your GSR info long term? Yeah, I keep it. I put it in here, a big folder. So If it's a coach that cancels, obviously I'll take them out and move on. But I do keep this log. So that's why I created so many lines, so that it would be a continuation, and I could look back at what they said last call, the call before that, the call before that, and it really kind of helps me to give them solid advice instead of just like, oh, what do you want to talk about? I can kind of look at where our conversations have gone in the past. Okay, so let me keep working. If you guys have questions about this, please go ahead and type them out, but I'm going to keep going because I am about done here. Okay, so I saw a few comments on my post last night just about getting my coaches to work, or getting, getting people to do something. And you guys, the thing is, you can't get them to do anything. It's not your job to get them to do anything. But again, like I said in the beginning, if you're only sponsoring 2 coaches a month, then chances are that those 2 might not be ready to work their business. It just kind of depends. So you have to be realistic about how many coaches you're sponsoring each month. Hopefully your goal is 3 to 5 plus. If you're interested in building a solid team, solid Star Diamond organization, 2-star diamond and above, it really needs to be more than 2 people. And I know that's scary, because when you don't feel comfortable sponsoring new coaches, anything more than 1 feels scary. But you can do it, because we're all proof. Like Jessica was saying, the other day, it's like we're all very normal people who have to learn the same skill set. It's a skill set. And so this business works best. There's synergy when there's a true connection between a sponsor and their coach. Think of it. Think of the coaches on your team who you are energized by. Who are the people that you would have no problem hopping on the phone with them on a Saturday morning if they really needed it? Like, who are those coaches that you truly love working with? Chances are those are the coaches that you feel like you can connect with the best. At least I know that's how it is for my team. The people that I feel like I can really connect with are the people that are fun to work with. They're fun to be around. And so make sure, and also those coaches are usually the most productive. They're usually the people who are needing your mentorship, but not needing you to hold their hand. And I'm not saying you shouldn't hold hands. It's your mentorship style is completely up to you. But think of this as, I guess, an encouragement. If you feel like you're not connecting with some of your new coaches, or you feel like they're not doing what they said they were going to do, just do yourself a favor, and honestly do them a favor. Keep moving forward. Keep finding your people. Keep finding the people that you feel most connected with. Of course, offer that person resources. Of course, bring them into the circle. Of course, help them, but don't be disappointed if they're not doing what you want them to do. It's just not the best fit, and that's okay. You don't want those kind of people on your team anyways. You want a lot of people that you connect really, really well with, because it's fun, it's energizing, it's motivating, and it's productive. So remember that. Business works best when there's synergy there. So get on the phone with your people. Figure out what helped you as a new coach. You guys, we didn't have First 30. We didn't have a lot of the stuff that's available to coaches now. And so make sure they're using those resources. Again, talking about Ranks and Success Club, it depends on their goals. So you can't make it just a rule of thumb. Of course, maybe talk about what it is, or share, ask them if it's a goal of theirs. That's all good. But saying, hey, hit Emerald by, month 2, or hit Success Club by month 2 or month 1. You can talk about it, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be their goal. So be more individual on your GSRs to figure out how you can truly meet them halfway, because otherwise you'll be pulling people along. You'll be trying to pull somebody towards Emerald or pull somebody towards Success Club who has no intention of getting there in that time frame. My next tip for you is to build a video library. Build a video library with your new coach in mind. That way you have a hub of resources that is awesome for them, but it's not taking a ton of time out of your everyday to teach them. So create that hub. That's where my YouTube channel came from, with my new coaches in mind, answering common questions, talking about your advice for how they can get started, how they can get to Emerald, how they can help their first 1 or 2 challengers, whatever the thing may be. Build a video library for your coaches. Okay, anything else? Oh, the last thing I wanted to talk about here, when you're talking about giving steps for new coaches, this is what I do. Like what's the steps to help them succeed? So what I do is on our GSR, we're going to talk about what their goal is. What is their 30-day goal? And you guys, it's going to be different for everybody. You know this by now. Some of them, their goal is simply to lose 10 pounds. They're really more of a challenger to get started. So ask them, what is your 30-day goal? What do you want to accomplish in these 30 days? After that, maybe it's they want to make $1,000. I don't know, whatever it may be. After they've identified their 30-day goal, ask them, okay, now I want you to identify, or we're going to do this together, 5 to 8 daily activities that you can do that are going to get you closer to your goal. Now, what does that do? That gives them very specific, a very specific strategy with their goal in mind. Okay, not your goal as their sponsor, not Beachbody's goal, but their goal. It might be on their coach action plan. You might help them build their first 30-day goal. Maybe they don't know, it might be all new to them, but they've identified their first 30-day goal, and then you guys are together going to identify 5 to 8 daily activities that are going to help them get them closer to their goal. And so more than likely there's going to be some vital behaviors on there, but there's some room for a few other ones depending on how they're doing. If it's physical for them, if it's like more challenger related, then of course it's going to be making sure that they maybe get up before the kids get up to get their workout done before the day gets away from them. Or maybe it's something about like something daily they can do as far as like maybe logging their food. That's going to help them stay on track with their meal plan. Or maybe it's more business related, and so they have a fear of posting on social media, and so maybe one of their daily activities is going to be posting something a little bit more vulnerable, just a little bit, to help them take baby steps. So on our GSR, I help them create these 5 to 8 action steps, and then you guys, at the end of the day, a new coach has these action steps right in front of them, hopefully like on a post-it or something, and they can say to themselves at the end of the day, did I get these things done? And if I did, this was a successful day. I feel good about that. That builds their confidence. It builds their belief in themselves because they are accomplishing what they set out to accomplish. And so I highly recommend using that strategy. Maybe their goal is Emerald. Maybe their goal is very specific, and you can really help them break down the behaviors that are going to get them to that goal. But that way, at the end of the day, their confidence and their self-esteem as a new coach isn't rooted in whether or not they have Success Club 10 the first week or not, or whether or not they've, become Emerald or not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But their confidence and their self-esteem comes from completing those steps. And you get to remind them, like, look, this is a faith game. You've got to know that and trust the process, that when you're doing these things, the payoff is going to be there. We don't always know when it's there, but it's going to be there. And you can keep them sort of focused on the belief in that this works, but they have a very specific to-do list every single day that will help them build their confidence. And the last thing that I wanted to point out is personality types. So I do that. Actually, I'm getting ready to post this in my PS group later this afternoon, but I like to do personality tests every so often, especially when I have a bunch of new coaches coming in. For me, they're usually people that I didn't know outside of Beachbody, so they're brand new friends to me. So I like to use the 16personalities.com. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but 16personalities.com is really awesome, and it'll help you it'll help them understand themselves, and it'll help you understand themselves. So I don't really do anything with it yet, but probably what I would do is if they complete that test, I would probably put it on the back of their call log sheet so that I have that to reference. I think that's really important and I'm not an expert at this, so don't feel like overwhelmed or anything, but knowing your new coach's personality and how they're motivated or what drives them or how they're encouraged best is going to help you be a better sponsor to them. It's going to help you understand what would work for them or maybe what would not work for them. You could also use the gems, you know, Danny Johnson with ruby, emerald, pearl, and sapphire. It doesn't really matter what you do, but just the point is to get to know them a little bit better, and not just, oh, what's your husband's name, but more like, how are you motivated? How do you best feel rewarded? Some people care very much about recognition, and other people, honestly, they don't care at all. They're more, you know, driven as far as dates or challenges or whatever it may be. Or maybe it's a reward to earn, maybe even if it's just like a tank top, but they will do whatever it takes to get that you know, $7 tank top or whatever it is. So those are just some ideas. I know there's a question up there that I'll grab before I hop off. But are your coaches usually from your challenges or someone completely new who have never done challenges before? Both. I would say it's more, it's like probably half and half. I would say it might be leaning a little bit more towards challengers. So, and my thoughts on that, Amy, are from my YouTube channel. And so a lot of people know about Beachbody. A lot of my people have done their programs in the past. They just had never known about a challenge group before, and then either like they hear about the coaching opportunity on the DVD, or they see some, you know, distant acquaintances post about it, and so they do some research. So once they begin researching, they find me on YouTube. They find that I have a library of videos, which I think says to them, this person is invested in her business. She has all these training videos for her team. It gives them a little bit of confidence that I'm not going to just sign them up and leave them. But also it allows them to get to know my personality, the way that I talk, the way that I share about my story or about, you know, whatever the thing may be. It allows them to get to know me without having to reach out yet, you know, and so they can kind of make that decision on their own. Like, am I connecting with her? Do I find some similarities here? Or can I understand, you know, where she's coming from? And so my YouTube channel, I was incredibly dedicated to it my first 2 years. I did like 2 videos a week. And some of them are unlisted, but the majority of them, a lot of them are public. And the reason I do that is because, like, who cares? Like, if my video helps a coach on another team, who cares? I mean, take this group, for instance. Like, all the hosts of this group, most of us are on different teams, yet we're combining our brains and our effort and our energy to offer a great training to you guys. So I say let the information go. Like, if you're doing something and you're finding success, I say share it. You know, you know, like, don't be bogged down with this scarcity mindset. Share the information. Anyway, my YouTube channel, I believe, has helped people figure out if they're going to connect with me, and also have some confidence that I am actively working my business and training my team. So that's all I have for onboarding, you guys. I know this wasn't a checklist, and if you were expecting that, I hate to tell you that, but I just don't think that that's a realistic piece of onboarding, because it can change. It should change. It should change quarterly, because we should always be evaluating what we're doing and saying, is this working, or am I just doing this because I've always done it? And then it also has to be flexible, because the people that we're onboarding are all very different and unique. So that's my approach to this. I think having your own game plan is important. Simplicity is important. Utilizing the tools that Beachbody has already created for you is important, and then just put your twist on them. So again, my challenge to you, my call to action to you, is to set a specific day within the next 10 days of when you are going to set some time aside so that you can fine-tune or brainstorm what your onboarding system is going to be. I use this call log sheet. I do the pin post, which I'm going to share with you guys with the video. I do a one-on-one call with them. I use the first 30. They become apprentice coaches within my group. But you guys, if they don't want to work their business, then they don't want to work their business, and that's okay. They're in my group, so you know, they know where to reach me. You know, if something changes, but I'm going to continue moving forward. There's that balance of continuing to move forward towards your own goals and including everybody around you, but not waiting for everybody around you, not waiting for so-and-so to get their act together or to get their mindset right or whatever. Offer resources, offer encouragement, share what's working for you, but keep going. So find that balance of respecting and honoring your time, but also mentoring your heart out. Mentoring, you know, doing what you said you were going to do when they signed up with you. No, I do a new coach training group, Lori. I do a new coach training group that's about 20 days. Man, my phone is going crazy. It's about 20 days. I'm also revamping that a little bit to be a little bit shorter. I do like a group message thread for my new coaches, and then they go into a training group. So again, I use Coach Online Office training, and I kind of revamped it a little bit just with my personality. I share videos from other coaches in the network, hitting what I believe is the most important aspects of new coach training to build a good foundation as a new coach. So that's what I do. But as far as onboarding, remember, it's not your job to put together their business. It's your job to meet them where they're at and get to know them, figure out how they're motivated, help them get plugged into the resources, and touch base with them and figure out what their goals are and how you can come alongside them as they build their own business. Okay, you guys, I'm going to hop off so I can share these other resources, but thanks for hopping on. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Okay, bye, you guys.